I've had a lot going on lately. So in May, I had about a month off of teaching, which was a really nice break. And no, I didn't use any of that time to work on anything YouTube related, so apologies. But during that break, I did get the unique opportunity to visit 3 different cities within the span of 2 weeks, which I don't think I've ever done before. Well, except when I was in Costa Rica and I went to a different city like every weekend, but I haven't done it in my own country. Yep, I did a lot of traveling at the end of May and early June, and in typical Becca fashion, I recorded a lot of videos. And in typical Becca fashion, I did not actually talk to the vlog. I just sort of recorded but didn't actually say anything. So I will now say things to kind of tie all these clips together. First, Eric and I went to St. Louis, Missouri for our anniversary. And I know St. Louis isn't like the pinnacle of romantic getaways, but we really just wanted to do something interesting, like more interesting than staying in our hometown. We'd been to St. Louis before, so we didn't really bother with the touristy stuff like the arch. Although one day we were there while it was rainy and the arch looked really sick ascending into the clouds. This was the best shot I got of it, unfortunately. Instead, we tried to do a bunch of small things. On the first day, we rented some scooters and rode around Forest Park, which had a lot of cool sights. Eric had never been to an urban park, so I think he was expecting that we would spend like 30 minutes there, and I feel like he was pleasantly surprised by how much there was to do. We also rented a paddle boat and paddled around this lake for a while, which was really cute and fun. The next day we visited the home of Scott Joplin, who's been my favorite piano composer since I was a little kid. Although he only lived in this home for a short time, it's the only remaining documented home that we know for sure he lived in, so it's pretty special. It was neat to see the old building, including the sweet door that Thomas Jefferson invented, where the bottom part swings out but the window goes up. It was really interesting. Not the biggest fan of Thomas Jefferson, but I love a cool door. And at the end of the tour, our guide played a song for us on this old-fashioned player piano. Now, when I saw that there was gonna be a player piano like on their website, and I was like, okay, you know, it's like one of those that runs on, I don't know, electricity, right? Like a modern player piano that you maybe see in like a fancy hotel or something, right? No, this player piano was from like the early 1900s, and it was like, she said it works kind of the same way that a bagpipe works, but instead of squeezing on the bag, she would like press these pedals with her feet to make the air continuously flow through the piano, and it would read music kind of like a music box. And it was so cool. I had no idea that was even a thing. It totally blew my mind. All the like music box paper that it reads were all lined up on the top of the piano, and she had like a lot of, you know, Scott Joplin rags. And she said like this was very common at the time, probably for pretty wealthy people, but like this is how people like access music, right? Like at the time, you either played music, you didn't have a record player, right? So you either played music to, you know, entertain your family, or if you couldn't play, I guess you got a player piano and just did that. And that was entertainment at the time. And I was like, wow, I had no idea about that. And I've been playing piano literally since I was a little kid. Like, that was so cool. And oh, I'm going so off script, but I really liked the Joplin house. I also appreciated that although the tour guide was white and like literally everyone on the tour was white, she did not shy away from the, you know, the racism that Scott Joplin obviously faced being a Black musician, but also there were some pretty cool things that he accomplished. Like he was one of the first musicians who actually got royalties. When people would buy his sheet music, he would get like a cent, which at the time was a bit more. It's still not great, but every time someone bought his music, he would get a cent for, you know, having created the music. That's obviously very common now, but like at the time, it was kind of like, apparently, especially probably for non-white composers, it was just kind of like you write the music and then it just goes out into the world and you don't get anything back from it. So he was like kind of on the cutting edge of a couple things, which was really cool to learn. But then also like we learned that like this house that he stayed in was not even really his own. He kind of stayed with another family. And you know, she talked about like the history of the neighborhood, how it was like not the nicest, you know, all that stuff. So I feel like it was a really well-rounded tour in terms of like admiring and recognizing his accomplishments and the ways he contributed to music at the time, but also not shying away from the sort of less happy parts of his story. Sorry, I was really only planning to spend like 20 seconds talking about the Joplin house, but it was probably my favorite thing. Like I was really really excited to do that. And I'm glad we got to. We also went to this cute miniatures museum and the science center. We didn't get many clips at either, but I strongly recommend visiting the science center. We had only blocked off like an hour to visit it, but there was so much cool stuff to see. Like it just kept going. There are like multiple floors, and there's this sky bridge that goes over the highway to get to like a whole nother building, and there's so much in there. So we wound up spending like at least 2 hours because there was just so much cool stuff to see. The one clip I got is just Eric and me being Eric and me. Tennis. So there's that. And then the last thing we did was visit Laumeier Sculpture Park, which is exactly what it sounds like. A park full of these huge, interesting sculptures. It was super fun, and I loved exploring the city a bit more. The next weekend I needed to catch a flight to Seattle for a linguistics conference, but my flight departed from Chicago, so we took advantage and spent an evening there as well. I honestly didn't get any footage while we were there, but I was just really happy to be back in Chicago. It's honestly, I think, my favorite city that I've visited. The lake is cute, it's easy to keep your bearings, the pizza's good, the bean is so cool every time, and it's just nostalgic for a time when we lived closer to the city. We only had a night in Chicago, so we didn't do much. We just ate some Chicago dogs in Millennium Park and rode rental bikes down to Navy Pier. Nothing super crazy, but it was just nice to be back. The next day I said goodbye to Eric and hello to Crystal, my friend from grad school who I hadn't seen in forever, and we presented together at the conference in Seattle. I had never been to the West Coast before, so I was really excited about that. Crystal and I got there a couple days before the conference started so that we had plenty of time to explore the town. We saw the original Starbucks, but didn't go inside. We got some pictures of the Space Needle, but didn't go inside. We saw the super cool Central Library, but didn't go inside until later in the week because our conference, the building was actually really close to the library. So one day when we had like an extra free hour, I was like, let's go to the library. And Crystal was like, yes. See, Crystal, this is why we're friends. Dang, sheesh. Yo! We also took a ferry to Bainbridge Island, which was super cute. We wanted to visit the beach, but it was a ridiculously long walk, so we just explored the shops instead. We did get our water fix though when we visited Gasworks Park on our last day. Not exactly a beach you can wade in, but we sat on top of this hill and read, and it was a super chill way to end the week. Oh, and the conference was nice too. No, seriously, our presentation went great. I learned a lot about tech that I hope to apply in the classroom, and we got to catch up with some friends and colleagues that we hadn't seen in a long time. Specifically at Ivar's Fish Bar. One of our professors from grad school is a Seattle native, so he like knows all the best places to go. And I'm just saying, like, if you ever visit Seattle, you know, it's a big city, it can be hard to find like a good place to grab a quick bite to eat. Ivar's Fish Bar, really nice because it's literally, that's what it is, it's a fish bar. The food is quality, but you will get your food within the span of like 5 minutes. It's reasonably priced. Like, I'm just saying, if you want like an experience recommended by a Seattle native, so that means like it's good, I guess, but it's also fast and you can sit like on the sound. Like it's good. Ivar's Fish Bar was like, yeah, 10 out of 10. Oh, and Crystal saved the building from burning down. Not really, but the conference throughout the day, you know, there were these tables that in the morning had like bagels and like little parfait cups, and then like in the middle of the day maybe they would have cookies. You know, in the morning sometimes they had little toasters so you could toast your bagels, and Crystal was like, doesn't it smell like burning in here? And we were like, well, I was like, maybe a little bit, but I'm not like that concerned about it, right? And she was like, no, it really smells like pretty weird. And we walked around and we wound up like really close to like the source of what smelled like something burning. And we were like, what is going on? And turns out someone had just, I don't even know how this works, because toasters are supposed to like pop when, like after your stuff has been in there for a while, right? There had been a bagel in this toaster for like probably a solid 3 minutes. It was like solid black, and someone had just left it there, I guess. And Crystal noticed it, and she stopped the toaster and she fished the bagel out with a fork, which you aren't supposed to do. I was like, Crystal, you are going to electrocute yourself, and she was fine. But yep, she saved, you know, the whole building from burning down. So I'm saying that now because that was like a major memory from this trip. So I don't want to forget the time Crystal saved a whole bunch of linguist nerds from dying. So thanks, Crystal. Oh, and because I had a clip of Eric and me being Eric and me, here's a clip of Crystal and me being Crystal and me.
Why?
That's because it's adorable. Shield frog? Are you kidding me? Like, it's a great word.
What's my favorite?
This trip, or series of trips, was a super rewarding experience for me. Typically, this is the kind of thing that I would turn down. So many different places in such a short period of time sounds stressful, no thanks. But despite the rain in St. Louis, the traffic in Chicago, and the absurd hills in Seattle, I'm really glad I wound up doing all of it. Over the past couple of years, you may have noticed kind of a trend in some of my videos. I had a lot there for a while where I was talking about how I really like to have control, and the pandemic kind of gave me this opportunity to really like schedule everything out and just have so much control over every single thing. So doing these 3 trips within the span of 2 weeks was a good reminder of how nice spontaneity can be, occasionally. Okay, thanks for watching this little update. This is just kind of what's been going on in my life. I'm trying to, you know, like I said in my previous video, I'm still kind of getting accustomed to, you know, our new place, my new job, so I haven't been posting a ton. But, you know, I thought I'd do a little travel vlog for you guys. And what about you guys? You know, it's officially summer now, so maybe let me know in the comments what is the most exciting thing that you have done or plan to do this summer. For me, it was definitely Seattle, because that's the farthest I've been from home. First time going to the West Coast. It was really, really cool. So yeah, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I put videos out whenever I want about music, media, linguistics, and whatever else is on my mind that week. Thanks so much for watching. See ya.
What is this tree?
That looks fake.
It looks like a cactus that got out of control.
It looks fake.
Like this part right here. Can I get it on my camera? What is that?